Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing Never Have I Ever Season 1. So I told you, finished up the first season of, what was it called, Manifest. I think I gave that a B. Decent show, kind of crime drama from the, more like the cops perspective. But this one I wanted to switch it up a little bit, so I went with this one. So I'll read you the overview. It's a Netflix original. I'm liking Netflix as a consumer. Not doing too hot today on the stocks, but I like it as a consumer. Again, I'll talk more about streaming on my finance podcast. I have another episode about done. But we'll do the typical thing. I'll give you my overall grade and impressions. Then after that, if you have not seen the show and would like to, you should shut off the video. If not, we're going to go on for some plot development and characters. Didn't really write anything down until the end. So most of the plot should be covered, and talk about some major themes if anything really strikes me to talk about. So we got, after a traumatic year, a first-generation Indian American teenager wants to improve her status at school, but friends, family, and feelings don't make it easy on her. First episode was April 27, 2022. Created by Mindy Kaling, that's definitely one of the chicks from The Office, and Lang Fisher. So, and it's just like a drama. It's like a comedy drama about an Indian girl going through life. I find it super fun, actually. I think it's really upbeat. I think the the banter is really well. It's like a drama comedy series. I like the episodes are pretty short. It's like 20 to 25 minute episodes. Season 1 had 10 episodes in it, so it's a show you can rip through pretty quick. But as I said, for the overall comedy effect, I think, like I said, the character insecure characters drive you bonkers, and in a comedy that's done well, you don't really get that at all. And so you have your typical life drama stuff going on, but I think it's just done in an upbeat, fun, and funny way. So overall, I'm going to give it an A-. Thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's well done in the writing. So that's my overall impressions. Teen drama, some comedy. I think the banter and the character development is actually rather funny. So I give it an A-. Highly recommend. So now we're going to get into the plot development, talk about some of the characterizations and character relationships and major themes. So it's narrated. If you have two narrators, it's John McEnroe, and I believe it's actually John McEnroe, and then one other dude, another famous person, maybe Andy Samberg. But you have narrators and character dialogue as well. So you open up, you get some narration. Basically, you learn right off the bat that Mohan, you have Nalini Vishwakumar, and Mohan Vishwakumar. And right at the beginning, Mohan dies. There's a plot setup. Basically, Devi, and that's Devi's like the main character, and she plays the harp, and she's at her school performance playing the harp, and her father falls down and dies, has a heart attack. And so then she goes to jump in her pool. She also swims. And she's going to swim, she jumps in the pool and her legs stop working for like 6 months or 3 months or something. So and this is all just getting setting up the plot with some narration. And so her legs start to work again sophomore year. So they really start the show at sophomore year. So Devi is friends with, they have 3 friends, Fabiola Torres and Eleanor Wong. And also another person in the household throughout the season is Kamala. She's the cousin of Devi, pretty attractive Indian lady. But so that's kind of the setup. You have Paxton Hall Yoshima, who's like the hot guy at school that everybody wants, or at least Devi wants, or like the hot guy. You have Ben Gross and Devi are like competing, both really good at school, getting good grades, always competing over who's getting 99s or 100s. You have Prashant, who is throughout the season, a potential suitor for an arranged marriage for Kamala. You have Trent, who's like the token stupid dude that's friends with Paxton. You have Rebecca, who's Paxton's sister. She has Down syndrome. You have Dr. Jamie Ryan. Again, just met another Jennifer Johnson, and now another show with Jamie Ryan. I give you a story about a guy, his name's Jamie Ryan. But she's a lady, she's the therapist. From her dad dying and stuff, she goes to a therapist throughout the season. You have Steve, who is Kamala's current boyfriend, up to the middle of the season, and then she has the arranged marriage, like dating or introduction. Kamala ends up breaking up with Steve. Again, he's kind of bad at sex, I guess. But that's not the reason they're breaking up. But she breaks up with Steve throughout the season and is starting to give Prashant a chance. And then you have the teacher, Mr. Shapiro. So that's cool. And Jonah Sharp. Who's Jonah? Jonah's another gay best friend of the three girls. So they're called the UN. And at first, which is another hilarious thing, because my old friend Thomas Alas used to call his sister's friends the UN, like the United Nations. And so the show opens up, and they have an eclectic group of friends, so people call them the UN, and they think it's the United Nations, and Ben Gross quickly corrects them and tells them it's the Unfuckable Nerds. So again, that one got me. That one got me off the rip for sure. But again, they're like Fabiola's in the I don't know, the Robots Club. Eleanor Wong is into like theater and stuff. And so they decide they're gonna get boyfriends. That's the goal for sophomore years, they're gonna get boyfriends. So Davy says she's gonna go for the gay dude, for Jonah, just to use him as like a springboard boyfriend. And Eleanor, you learn, already has a boyfriend and didn't tell anybody, or at least didn't tell Davy. Fabiola, she's a lesbian, so she gets a girlfriend throughout the season. I think her name is Eve. And there's some other characters up here that I did not write down. I might look back through. So they're trying to get some boyfriends. So Davy's approach is basically, well, not even before she's trying to get, they set up to get a boyfriend, but then Davy just goes up to Paxton and basically is like, hey, we don't have to date, but will you have sex with me? So she wants to have sex with Paxton, but she's a virgin, so she's not real too sure. So they practice some sex positions with stuffed animals to learn the names. So that's another funny scene. But she does not follow through with getting railed, getting pounded by Paxton, the Paxton poundies. she just doesn't she's just not ready. But that's like develops throughout the season. That's like one of the first couple episodes. John McEnroe narrates, he's the first one, and you have Andy Samberg. They go to 2 parties throughout the season. The first one, Davy gets pretty drunk, and she thinks that her dad is reincarnated in a coyote, and a coyote approaches her at the party, so she goes up to the coyote and gets attacked. So she's not doing too good at the parties, getting attacked by coyotes. She becomes Coyote Girl, at least definitely to Trent. And then later in the season, they go to another party, and throughout the season, the relationship of the 3 girls kind of falters for a little bit, about halfway through, and then they get back together towards the end. Ben Gross helps get the girlfriends back together. But the second party, Trent, I guess, has dunked his balls in the punch and is laughing at everyone who drinks it. So as the relationship is a little strained, Davy sees Fabiola about to drink the ball juice, so runs over and tries to stop it, but ends up shoving the whole table of ball juice all over her new suit. So that's not going too well there. That's just kind of what happens at the second party. And she sneaks out, and at the second party, she ends up kissing I have Praxton. It's Paxton, sorry. I've written down wrong my notes. But, so they're coming back from the party, and basically, after the failed sex attempts, Paxton and Davy are kind of like just friends, and then they're driving home from a party. Paxton kisses her, and then kind of like ghosts her afterwards, so she's not really sure where she stands with Paxton. They actually go to Model UN throughout the season, like the high school event thing, and they have a rager with Russia. So I guess kind of like 3 parties. The delegate from Russia is this really, really tiny dude, but they scheme to steal alcohol. So they go up to this open bar at the hotel they're staying at. Sounds super familiar to like going to the weddings that I crashed or attended uninvited. But the bartender's not serving them at all because they look like they're high schoolers. But while they're not serving the alcohol straight away, the little dude from Russia steals some handles. And then they run away, and Siegel catches them, and so they run, and they go jump into security, or like just a storage closet, and all the alcohol stored in there anywhere. So that's where they get the alcohol for the rager. Kamala dates and dumps her boyfriend, we talked about that. Fabiola comes out as gay, talked about that. Eleanor finds her mom as a waitress. So Eleanor's relationship with her mom is that her mom is sending her postcards that she's made it big in Hollywood and that she's been a big acting star or doing something on Broadway, and that's gone on for a couple months. When really her mother's back in L.A. This is in Los Angeles as well, current time, and finds out that she's been a waitress for the past couple months in Los Angeles, and they find her. They have a little couple scenes with her, and she ends up leaving after. Basically, Eleanor's also into acting, and so Eleanor's like rehearsing in front of her mom, and her mom walks out on her because like she wants to go chase her dreams again at Broadway or something. So Eleanor has a breakdown, and Davy and Fabiola are supposed to go help her, but Davy gets another text from Paxton right at the same time. So we're gonna pick our friends, and we're gonna pick the cute boy. So obviously we go with the cute boy, and we go over, and Rebecca, Paxton's sister, is doing a fashion show. So Davy ditches her friends for a fashion show. Ganesh Puja, I'm gonna mess up the pronunciation. Ganesh Chaturthi celebration. I'm gonna read some history, but they have an episode of that. Just an Indian celebration for one of the gods or deities. But they go there, they meet some aunties, people that are not related to you but can have opinions about your life. So they attend that in one of the episodes. I was going to read some history, but I would just be reading off Wikipedia, so if you have interest, you can look that up yourself. But I like history stuff, so I read it a little bit. Ben Gross has a lonely family life and eats with Davy. So again, Nalini Vishwakumar, she is a dermatologist, and so she sees a lot of just like the high schoolers or people that Davy knows. Ben goes in there one day with a big zit and breaks down crying because he's got a lonely family life. His father is a big time lawyer for 2 Chainz and the Rappers, and then a couple of those lines are funny. His mom is the actress whoever plays Angela on The Office, but they're always gone. They play minor roles so far, at least in season 1. But they're his parents. They're just never home. He's super rich, lives in a really big house. Yeah. So, they kind of like there's they just have like there's minor plot developments throughout. And the comedy of the writing to me is just enjoyable. So the last end of season 1, what kind of happens is, Nalini, Dr. Nalini, she wants to go back to India because she's just lonely without Mohan and doesn't have enough family around her. And that's kind of what's leading up to the end. The last kind of major plot development is they're going to spread Mohan's ashes, just throw them into the ocean. Davy and Nalini are on rocky terms. She actually moves in with Ben Gross for a little bit throughout the season, but mainly just because it's just some flashback scenes of her mom basically saying like she doesn't like Davy and that she's just too stubborn and too hard-headed from the night that Mohan died. And so they're going to spread the ashes. At first, Davy's not going to go, but then she decides that she's going to regret it if she doesn't go. So she's with Ben, and Ben's going to drive her across town to get to where they're going to throw the ashes. They show up. Davy's yelling like, "Don't throw the ashes without me!" John McEnroe steps in and screams really loud, and they get their attention, and then they spread the ashes. And so after that, she's going back in the car with Ben and having an emotional moment, and they make out a little bit. So that's the final scene of season 1, is you have Davy making out with Ben Gross, and right as she's making out with Ben Gross, she's getting texts from Paxton. So now I just watched episode 1 of season 2, so now she's being a player. Never have I ever been a player. It's the season 1 episode or season 2 episode 1 title. So again, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the banter and comedy works really well for this characterization. So definitely recommend this one, and I find it enjoyable. And I do like the short episodes, so you can kind of bust through real quick. So thoroughly enjoyed it. See you next time. Thanks for watching.